Great to be with you on NBL Now. We've got one game of the championship series now taken care of, and Melbourne United, very impressive when it mattered most. So we've got to talk about this game. We've got to talk about all the elements of it. And to do that, we get Damon Lowery and Derek Rucker back together. They'll probably disagree for most of this show, but that's half the fun. And just to kind of paint the picture of the difference in the lives between these two, Damon Lowery, not long after we record this, has been out. He's had the weight vest on. He's ran 20 kilometres. He's done his pull-ups. And Derek Rucker has just been lounging around in a Sydney hotel. Great to see both of you.
Hey, yeah, Jack. Morning, man. Morning, Ruck. Yeah, we got our lifestyles are going in two different directions. I totally envy Derek's. I ain't got the fitness that Derek's got on the social side. Might have him covered in the other side.
Fair point. But, Dame, you motivate me to work out, but also you create a great sense of guilt for me this morning as I battle through my fifth bottle of electrolyte water.
And, yeah, you've both been drinking electrolytes, but for different reasons. Hey, let's dive in. Melbourne United win game one in Illawarra. To be honest, I don't know how many people had that one as their prediction for Melbourne to take game one.
Well, I had Illawarra to get game one, and in my mind, I had at least a 12-point win. I just felt like, historically, as we've spoken about, they're the best offensive team that we have ever seen. And at home, they play not totally, but they play a lot different, way more aggressive. Everybody's up and about. And like I've always said, it all starts with Trey, Kell. And if Trey Kell could have got off to a good start, I was feeling really good about the Hawks. But he didn't, Derek. He did not get off to a good start. And I feel like Trey's lack of offensive productivity affects him on the defensive end. Because there was times that he just let Dellavedova get around him too easy, got hung up on screens. I didn't feel like he affected the game enough as a non-scorer.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought, it's interesting because Dellavedova started that game off really poorly shooting the basketball. I think he was 0 for 4, 0 for 5. But you could see his intent and the way he was playing the game and his intensity and his desire was really good. Trey started off similarly, also struggling. But you can see, Damon, there was this certain degree of disengagement, too cool, maybe just a little laid back, and just not with the right mindset for the moment. And Delly caught up. Delly caught up with shooting the basketball. He made enough shots because he was engaged from the jump. Trey was never able to get from behind the 8 ball, and it cost him dearly. And when you couple that with Tyler Harvey's inability to put the ball, in the bucket as much he would have liked, his numbers weren't too bad. But you could see they did a really good job on Tyler Harvey in limiting his usage in that game.
And isn't this something that we highlighted in the last episode that with respect to the Phoenix, who they played in the playoff series? This is Matthew Dellavedova and Shea Illy, two defensive terriers. And when they step off the floor, Ian Clark jumps in and gets all up and in as well. So it's a different world for these Illawarra guards now.
And that was always going to be what this series is won, in the backcourt. And I didn't think the Melbourne United backcourt could affect them the way they did. But the thing with Trey Kell, and I know I'm harping on it, but it lurks inside him, that casualness. He might can mask it or cover it up for a couple of games, but at some point it seems to come out. And here's my thing. There's 3 seasons the way I look at it. There's the regular season, there's the playoff season, and then there's the championship series season. And what you did in the regular season don't mean a damn thing in the championship season. And that's one thing I got to respect about Matthew Dellavedova is he plays, it seems that the higher the stakes, the higher he raises his level.
And Damon, back on Delly, there is no messing around with that cat. He is all business. And we can knock him for the way his shot looks. We can knock him for being over-reliant on bully basketball. But you can't knock him for his commitment to winning and the success that he brings to Melbourne United and just the strong professionalism in his approach. Now, I think you are, Damon, going back to Trey Kell, I think you're being a bit fatalistic about him. That was only game one. We've seen him reverse his fortunes and his performance really quickly. And Dame, all it takes is one game to switch it around. Remember, last year, Tasmania lost game 4 at home in Hobart. And everybody was like, we're going back to Melbourne. This one's over. Jack, I said it in the first episode of this show. You've got to factor in the crazy quotient and the unpredictableness of this league.
So are you being too harsh on Trey, Kell, and Damon?
Hey, look, I'm sorry, man. As a point guard, as the leader of the team, no, man, you can't be getting passes. It can't be no inconsistent. Okay, let me play bad so I can then bounce back and play good. Man, just be good all the damn time. It's only a few games left in the season.
And I did give him a 3 out of 10, so I can't really say too much.
We'll get to your ratings in a minute. So just on Illawarra, we touched on Melbourne's experience in the last episode. You look down that team, Marcus Lee, Jack White, Chris Golding, Shea Ely, Matthew Dellavedova, Ian Clark, as their main 6 guys. This is not their first rodeo when it comes to playing in championship series, whereas for Illawarra, for some of them, this is a new experience. Did they perhaps not handle the occasion of game 1 as well as what they should have, the Hawks?
I think collectively, yes. But guys like Davo Hickey, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He almost had a triple-double. You wouldn't know it was Davo's first championship series. Todd Blanchfield hasn't been in one in quite a while. He came out there shooting the lights out. It's certain players. I thought Tyler Harvey, Trey, Kell, the 2 guys, your first team All-NBL guys. And I would throw Sam Frawley into that, but I won't because I felt he was underplayed. And the biggest criticism I got about that is this small ball lineup, man, it ain't no good. Like, soon as I saw him do it against the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, when that game was over after the first 2 minutes of the game, I thought, please don't make this a thing. Don't all of a sudden try to have some cute small ball lineup when you got 2 bigs in Sam Frawley and Lachlan Ulbrich who could have their way against Melbourne United. But Justin Tatum went small. Derek, you got 5 guards out there on the floor, and you getting smashed on the glass. Make that make sense.
Well, they got destroyed on the glass, and that's rare for Illawarra, especially at home. But I didn't mind the small ball lineup, Damon, because I thought in the first half they were able to create good shot opportunities. The problem was they didn't capitalize. And the mere fact that they were up 10 in that first half instead of 18 to 20 was a little bit of a tell. And with that small ball lineup, in these championship series, it's on Justin Tatum to figure out quickly. You can't afford to let it linger and see, okay, maybe we'll work in a couple of minutes. You've got to determine yes or no really quickly and make a change because the other guy, Dean Vickerman, he's going to be pulling all the right levers.
So just to follow back on Damon's point, Derek, do you think Sam Frawley was used appropriately in game 1?
I do not. Once the net result from the small ball lineup didn't work effectively in the second half, that's the end of it. In fact, I might not go to it again until maybe the second half of game 2. Froling was a problem. His percentages weren't great, but he was productive, Damon. And you could see they had to pay attention to Sam Froling. And also I started to feel a rise in confidence from Sam during the game.
15.7 rebounds in just under 25 minutes. Now, Justin Tatum said he wants to try to pull Marcus Lee outside the key. There's no need for that because Sam can beat him off the dribble, get onto his left hand, put him under some pressure where he might draw a foul, where Davo Hickey's not going to make Marcus Lee foul him.
Marcus Lee finishes game 1 with 14 points, 15 rebounds, and is plus 13. Now, this is one move that Dean Vickerman had up his sleeve that I'm not sure any of us saw coming.
Jack, he's a very effective player. The guy makes major contributions to helping his team win basketball games. He was really good in that season where he came in late with Melbourne United, but the team wasn't up to it. But if you looked at his numbers, they were good. Then last year in Tasmania, whenever he was in the game and healthy and not in foul trouble, he contributed to winning. Now, this season, it's more of the same. And the thing I like about him is he's really simple with the way he approaches the game. He blocks shots, he protects the rim, he rebounds, and he dunks. That's all I need from my big man. Just do those things for me, and we're going to be really cool together.
See, I know that you cool with the small ball because you want to see all these threes being shot. You reminiscing about you and John Riley, Scott McGregor out there blazing away threes, Bruce Bolden stepping out shooting threes.
Yep.
I'm trying to go bully ball with Melvin Thomas and have some ditch inside. So I don't like the small ball at all. Small ball is when you don't have a choice. Like, say, Perth Wildcats to a degree go small. When you big, like, you got to use your advantage. Don't try to make this a big chess match. I felt like Justin might have got caught up in that chess match with him and Dean. Dean's making adjustments because Dean doesn't have that for. He's got a shaky, I don't want to say shaky, too harsh. Jack White isn't Breaking Bad enough for me. Jack can get you 10 points, but he's got no choice but to go Jack White or Kyle Bowen. Whereas Illawarra Hawks got multiple choices. Ulbrich, Darius Days. For him to put 5 guards, I know you like to seeing 5 guards on the three-point line blazing up threes. I don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. And I thought, though, when we got to that Davo-Hickey matchup against the bigs, again, Justin had to understand when it was working, what we were getting out of it. And I thought at that point it was the time to get Hyunjung Lee into the game. And I thought he was another one, Damon, who was underutilized. He's slowly starting to find his rhythm. I think he was 2 of 2 from the 3 in that game. And when that scoreboard pressure was a problem for Illawarra in the second half and something that we had never seen. Also, when you're used to scoring points freely and you can't score points at all, there's another level of intense anxiety that hits you.
So on the NBL website now, nbl.com.au, you can check it out. Damon's got his Harden Up and Who You Are up online. Derek has also got his ratings. Now, my understanding is you're going to do this every game during the championship series, Derek. Did you get a chance to have a look at them, Damon?
Yeah, I did. And it's amazing. Like, Mr. Ratings Rucker, I don't know what game you was watching. You was at the game calling it. Great call. I'm at home watching the game. I'm thinking, Wani Swakalabuda, can you just refresh my memory? First, you called him overrated, which was way off. Wani's rating was what? What did you give him?
I gave him I think he was in the
6.5.
Where in there.
Now, I'm going to define that 6.5. So, Chris Golding has got 2 points at the half. He's got 2 fouls. Wani's got about 7 points. Got one of those fouls on Chris. Second half, he blocks one of Chris's shots. Chris got hit.
That was a foul.
That was all ball. All ball. Chris electrocuted himself. That was all ball. And Wani gets a strip. I think it was Ian Clark right at half court just about. Wani's done a great job chasing Chris off the three-point line. The only buzzer Chris got in the first half was that layup because Wani ran him off the sweet three-point line. I thought, and then this plus-minus rating thing that seems to be your god at the moment, that's overrated, man. If you're on the court with the wrong dudes at the wrong time of the game, it's going to reflect in your plus-minus. I think he's way too harsh on Wani, man.
Hey, he had ample time on the floor, Damon, and he winds up a minus 20. I don't know what to tell you. And for the vast majority of the game, for the minutes he was in the game, those were critical minutes, and he winds up being a minus 20. He was solid in the first half on the offensive end. Sometimes, though, he still goes timid. He let people beat him off the dribble. He wasn't as bad as Tyler Harvey. But, if I'm looking at a defensive stopper, okay, he's got to be more of a stopper, I think. And I didn't say he is overrated. I said that the focus on him being a great defensive player is overrated. Now, he can help significantly if he can shoot the ball well, which he showed signs of in this game. Okay, it looked good. But he needs to lock someone down on the defensive end. All 4 Melbourne United guards scored in double figures. I don't think anyone did a good job defensively from Illawarra in that backcourt.
Can I ask one other question on the ratings just while we're with these?
Here we go.
What is this 8.2, 9.2, 8.8. Derek, you got to rate them out of 10. You've got 10 whole numbers. Just pick one.
No, I can't.
2.4 is this?
Jack, you know me. I go nerdy sometimes, and I just got to get things tight. Now, I allow you, Damon. I acknowledge the fact that there is some discrepancy, and I don't claim to be perfect with the ratings, okay? But I try and get it really, really good. And, yep, maybe Davo Hickey and maybe Swakala Bullock, there could be some room for movement there. But when you lose, Damon, you get penalized. And all those plays you don't make when you lose, you get penalized extra. The magnitude is different.
Now, Davo Hickey, now, in 19 minutes, call it 20, off the bench, first ever championship series, playing against an elite backcourt. And he goes 7 boards, 8 dimes, 14 points. Now, come on, man. Delly finished with 18. Ian Clark got a couple late. Chris Golding got a lot from the free throw line late. Davo should get way more playing time, especially considering how Trey has been ineffective on the offensive end.
Okay, so Jack, I felt that Davo had 4 points late that were insignificant, fluff. He also had some corresponding rebounds that were a bit of fluff. So I just reduced all his stats, Jack, by about 20% because it matters. Damon was crying at home at this point and it actually turned the game off. Yeah, so he doesn't know what happened in the final 2 minutes.
Look, he'd taken his Illawarra bucket hat, thrown it in the bin at that stage.
I was heated. Now you the fluff police too? Damn.
Just out of interest, Damon, out of 10, what would you give Derek's ratings for game 1?
I'm gonna give Derek's ratings. That's a good question, Jack. I love the what's the word I'm looking for? The efficiency, the detail, and the time it takes for any kind of these rankings. Keep in mind, we all know that they're subjective. That's cool. But I appreciate that, the effort that goes into it. I just feel like it's too heavy-handed against the Hawks side. It's just too heavy, and it's always been. We're going back to the preseason review we did, Jack. He's still carrying some of that baggage now into the championship series. So I'm going to give Derek's rankings. I'm ranking your rankings as 7.5. No, it's 7.4, Jack.
You know, and often when you have these types of discourse, or you have this type of discourse over things like this that are subjective, you learn. And you know, I'm always trying to learn, Damon. And you could be right about the Illawarra thing because I did discount their bench in the preseason in the show we did. So maybe I've got some internal issues to deal with the Hawks bench. But the bottom line, Jack, you see it in the AFL. When you lose big games, you get penalized in the evaluation of how you perform.
That's winners celebrate, losers have meetings. That's the reality. Going into game 2 on Wednesday night, what adjustments need to be made? Probably more from an Illawarra perspective, I would imagine, but some adjustments for either team that you two think needs to happen.
I think from the Hawks' point of view, and Justin Tatum said this in the pregame, talking to Felix Hools and Copes, Sam's a 30-minute guy, and he didn't play him 30 minutes, and he chose to go ultra small when Sam was on his way to at least probably a 22 and 11 type of a game, which he hasn't had a whole lot of those. So Sam will draw fouls on Rob Lowe and on Marcus Lee. Now, that's the first thing. I got to play Sam 30 minutes provided he's not in foul trouble. Second thing, I'm putting a rocket up Trey Kell to know sometimes when you play a guy because you trust him and you give a guy 9 minutes, Derek, because you just go, that's my guy. I'm from the Brendan Joyce school. You're my guy when you're playing like my guy. When you're not, man, come and sit down. So, no, you can't be getting a pass because this is the mustiest. I've said this. This game 2 is the mustiest of must-wins because if they drop this one, they're not going to get swept, but it's over in 4.
Well, Damon, firstly, this is a bit belated, but congratulations on being reappointed 3x3 coach.
Thank you.
That's a great achievement. Hopefully you don't use such a dated and archaic coaching mindset. Come on, man. You played with this. You're talking about stuff from 20 years ago. We've changed. The way you approach Trey Kell in this situation is to put your arm around him and say, hey, I love you. I've got great belief in you, but damn it, I need some numbers tonight. You're going to get every chance to go out there and show me you're an MVP type guy in this series, but I need you to do it from the jump. You've got my full support. Anything I need to do for you, I'm here for you. Go out and get it done. Threatening him with benching isn't the way to go. He's just going to go into a shell. He's coming off of one of his worst games of the season, and you want to put a rocket up him and make him feel worse? We don't have a week to recover, Damon. We got like 48 hours until he's got to go out there and tip it off under intense scrutiny.
So accountability don't mean nothing to you.
I didn't say anything.
Accountability just a cool word. You gotta hold.
Of course, but this is like you said, the championship season is different. We don't have time to be beating people down and then trying to repair them. Like during the normal course of events, you can do that when you've got 7 days until your next game. Yep, I'm going to hit them over the head. You're terrible. You're better than that. You do all that stuff, and then you slowly build them up. Damon, it's a 72-hour, 96-hour turnaround. And from right now, it's 48 hours, basically.
I'm going to put my arm around him. It might be in a sleeper hole, though, if this keeps up.
And as I said off the top of this show, it just illustrates the difference between Damon Lowery and Derek Rucker, but it's what we love about you both. I'm going to give this show about an 8.7 out of 10. I think we were solid. I think we've got a lot to talk about as we lead into Game 3 as well. Gentlemen, great work by both of you. Wednesday night, Game 2 at John Cain Arena between Melbourne and Illawarra. We will break it down on the other side of that as well. Go and have your electrolytes for all of the different reasons that you need them, and we'll catch you soon.